evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Stan Smith, and I'm here with head football coach and athletic director at Dublin High School, Coach Roger Holmes, and this is the Fighting Irish Coaches Show. And, Coach, I guess this would be our last show until we start again next year. Is that right?
I'm afraid you're right, Stan. You know, we told our fans last week that we would be back this week. We'd either be talking about wrapping up the season or talking about a second-round opponent. Although I think our young men made a valiant effort last week in Fitzgerald, I don't think the score is probably indicative of the game, but at the end of the night, the score is what it was, and Dublin was on the wrong end of it. And
it didn't look that way in the first half, though. It looked like that was a real Donnybrook about to take place, and that hope that you always have that your team will come out was still, I'm guess it was in every Irish fan's heart until late in the ball game in the latter part of the third quarter, and then things sort of broke open.
Well, we knew going in, and I don't remember exactly what all we told our fans here on the TV show last week, because lo and behold, you know, I get a message from one of my coaches, says, "Coach, you need to go on the vent and check it out." And what it was our coaching show last week was on the vent for the Fitzgerald fans to evaluate what was said on our coaches show about the upcoming game. So sometimes you try to be a little bit careful about what you put out there because there are no secrets. But, you know, for us, Dan, we went into the game and we felt like, and this was, our kids knew this, that for us to have the best opportunity to go in and pull off an upset against a very explosive offensive football team at Fitzgerald, what we needed to do was control the clock. And sitting around watching game film, we were noticing these teams that they were beating the heck out of. They had 25-second clocks in their end zone, and they were snapping the football with 19 or 20 seconds left. As soon as they'd break the huddle, they'd go to the line and snap the football. And if you're not able to move the football like you want to, only a minute's run off the clock at the end of the series, and Fitzgerald has the ball back. So we went in, obviously, with the plan that we wanted to milk the 25-second clock as far as we possibly could, shorten the game, especially if we were able to move the football on the ground, that would allow us to continue to shorten the game. And our goal was to limit Fitzgerald to 6 opportunities with the football throughout the course of the game. We felt like if our defensive football team could get 3 stops out of those 6 opportunities, offensively we could find a way to score 3 times, we'd be in it in the fourth quarter. Well, the first half, we were able to do that to a large degree. The score was 14-7 at the half, and we had one called back with 24 seconds to go in the half. A touchdown was called back for a holding penalty. You looked at it a minute ago. It was an iffy call. May have been the right call, may have not have been the right call, but at the end of the day, that touchdown was called back. But we still go to the locker room, and it's 14-7 at the half, and Fitzgerald is up. And our young men, I think, really believed that they had a chance at that point to win the football game, and so did I, with the understanding that we needed to continue with our game plan. As long as we were within 1 score of the Fitzgerald score, continue to milk the clock, take your time, because one play, you know, one big offensive play and the game is tied. Well, the third quarter went away, and Fitzgerald actually scored to go up 21-7 with 49 seconds to go in the third quarter. So they're up 2 scores. The ensuing drive, when they kicked off to us as we go over into the fourth quarter, we still didn't want to hit the panic button. We felt like that, okay, if we can establish one drive here, we score with 6 minutes to go in the game. If we can get 1 stop, maybe we get field position, punch one in. We picked up 1 first down There was about 7 minutes left on the clock, and it's 4th and 2. We were somewhere around midfield. We chose to go for it. We ran the football play that's been our most productive play all year, and we didn't pick up the 2 yards. We came up short, and I think from a mental standpoint, that gave Fitzgerald a little momentum, and it gave our kids a moment there of doubt and disbelief, and it didn't take Fitzgerald long. The very next play, they ran play-action pass. Our defensive back took a step forward instead of a step back. They ran by him, and it's 28-7 that quick. We get the ball back the next series, and we ended up in a punting situation. It's 4th and 6. And really, at that point in time, it's okay now. Are we trying to keep the game close, or are we trying to win? And the game plan that we went in with, it was to try to win. It was a scenario that we thought gave us the best opportunity to win, so we lined up to punt, and they had, the other 2 times we had punted, they had really adjusted in a manner that gave us a fake punt. We ran the fake punt. The receiver was open, but we didn't execute. We were unable to complete the pass. Gave them the ball back, and I think 3 plays later they're in the end zone again. And then at that point, it's game's kind of over. But, for our fans that were there, it was a good representation of Dublin football. It was, I'm proud of these young men. It's always a tough way to end your season is with a loss. But the way things are set up, if you make the playoffs, there's only one team that's going to end their season with a win. So it's time to evaluate. It's time to look at next year. And then we've already started the evaluation process. And we're going to give kids, obviously, Thanksgiving week off, and we're going to get back in here and get back in that weight room and get going and try to get ready for, I guess, what would be season 2017.
You're right. You're right, Coach. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
At Bank of Dudley, we can make your mortgage experience a pleasurable one. We realize that this is the biggest financial decision most people ever make. The most critical step in purchasing a home is finding a loan that best suits your needs. And that's where we come in at Bank of Dudley, because we know one size does not fit all. Our experienced mortgage professionals will come to you wherever you are. We're available at any of our 5 locations, or we'll come to your business or home. Call Jed Van Norman, Shirley Clements, Cynthia Collins, or Angel Johnson today. Creating you a custom mortgage experience with great rates and terms to fit your budget. Quick, honest, and simple. In a hurry? Apply online right now at bankofdudley.com. Bank of Dudley, East Dublin, Jeffersonville, Dudley, Veterans Boulevard, and downtown Dublin. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Coach, we've talked about, I guess, the loss at Fitzgerald. And of course, it's single elimination in this tournament, and that's just the way it is, the way it always will be. You go to your lose, and once you lose, it's time to take stock, start over. But there's still a lot of football out there, and the AA football is shaping up. A lot of teams that we're very familiar with. I think that, of course, other representatives from our region, Waco most especially won. Let's talk about what has happened in the playoffs from the perspective of our region, and then look at the state picture.
Well, I can tell you some of them. Obviously, the guys at Washington County got a big win last week out of our region. They went in as our region number 1. I think they played Berrien County. Got out with a win against Berrien, and that was big. Dodge County, or we'll go back to Southwest, our number 2 representative from our region. They played number 3 from Region 1. They came up a little short. I think they lost 20-16 in that ball game. So Southwest is done. But then the guys over in Eastman, Dodge County, who I guess, when you look at their record, 5-5, I think, through the regular season, I thought they were a very solid football team. And they proved that, I think, the other night as they were able to defeat the number 2 seed out of Region 1. And they picked up a big win, so they're moving on. So out of our region, matched up with Region 1, it was a split down the middle, two teams from each Region 1. Other people that I'm hearing some really good things on, Rockmart High School, who obviously plays Fitzgerald this week, as they had a big win. Rockmart's head football coach is Biff Parsons. Biff spent a year with us as an assistant coach after he had spent some time over in the USFL. I think that's what it was called, or NFL Europe, when they were playing the semi-pro type developmental league over in Europe. But Coach Parsons is their head coach, and I spoke with him last week, and they've got an explosive team. I think they won 35-0 last week against a pretty solid Heard County
They did.
team. So that'll be obviously a big matchup. I've heard a lot of good things out of Rayburn County. Lee Shaw, Connor Shaw, I think was the quarterback over at South Carolina. His brother played quarterback at Georgia Southern, but Coach Shaw was from at Flowery Branch up around Gainesville when all that was going on, and people were kind of shocked that Coach Shaw gave up his head coaching spot at Flowery Branch and went to Rayburn County. But Rayburn County was home to him, and that's where his family was, and he moved up in the mountains. He's had a couple of really nice quarterbacks, and I've heard that they're a football team that's capable of playing with anybody. Longtime Dublin region foe in the second round this year is the guys at Jefferson County. Another explosive offensive football team, I think, that's got a chance. Wouldn't surprise me to see them make a deep run. Region 2, I think Vidalia is still alive. They've got a matchup this week. I forget exactly who it is they play, but they were able to get through their first round game. And then Benedictine is the team that everybody is projecting to play Fitzgerald in the state championship.
In the state championship.
A lot of football left, but,
Yep.
Callaway. Callaway was a AAA team last year that moved down playing AA football, and from all indications, they are a very, very solid AA football team. So I know I've left some out, kind of shooting from the hip, but good, solid football teams are left. I think next year for our football team, as many young people as we played, we've got a tremendous nucleus coming back. One of the things I think that bothers me more than anything right now is replacing our punter and our kicker. Bryce Watson was a senior, and his backup was a senior. We need a punter and kicker to continue. Our long snapper's back. Our returners are back. Offensive guard for us, we got hit heavy with graduation there. Both of our backups this year were freshmen, and they're going to be good players. But in our offense, the guard position is so key. We need some help there, and hopefully maybe have to move a player or two around. But
Let's stop right there.
Next year, we want to be one of those
Yeah,
teams.
let's take a short break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to close it out.
Dr. Price and Dr. Peters at Dublin Orthopedic and Rehabilitation have been a part of our community for many years and very proud to support high school football. We are proud of our children and their commitment. We share that same commitment when it comes to our patients. You'll always be a winner at Dublin Orthopedic. No referral ever needed. Just call us today at 272-3022. Whether it's a sports injury, carpal tunnel, stress fracture, ankle sprain, or any other injury, don't waste your time or money going to the ER, urgent care, or hospital. Come straight to the specialists, Dr. Price and Dr. Peters at Dublin Orthopedic and Rehabilitation, 2406 Bellevue Road in Dublin.
All right, now we're back. Coach, we left talking about next year. The last thing we talked about were some guards, but I keep hearing things out there, particularly from other schools, about the JV, and more than that, the middle school. The middle school struck holy terror in one of our local teams here. What do you look for coming up? Because I think you got something out there on the way.
Stan, we are excited about the future of Dublin football, as we were talking. Now, I'd like to congratulate Craig Netchie on a tremendous year with our middle school football team again. Now, it appears that our nemesis was the guys over in Eastman. I think we played them in a scrimmage. We played them in the regular season, and we played them in the playoffs. And Dodge County this year was able to defeat Dublin in each of those contests. So we know they've got a tremendous 8th grade group over in Dodge County right now. But our middle school team had won the middle school championship the 2 previous years. We felt like our 9th grade group that came in this year was a really solid group, and then that was obvious with the contributions they made. Our sophomore class had a lot of young men playing in it. The middle school group is kind of balanced, and it's offensive linemen, defensive lineman type kids, and then running back skilled kids. There's a good balance there. I don't want to call names because as soon as I pick 2 or 3 names and leave 1 or 2 out, that should be mentioned, and maybe you've messed up there. But I know it's a good group, and Coach Netchie's done a good job. Now, when you talk about our JV football team, they lost their first game of the season, and they won 6 in a row. They made some tremendous progress. There were some young men at that level that simply needed some game experience. It's good to me when your JV squad is able to be successful. And one of the things that's hurt us for the last 2 or 3 years is, Stan, I would like to be able to have about 65 football players out, that 65 committed football players that were willing to do what it takes to be a first-class football team and program. And that means guys that are committed to the weight room, committed to the summer, the grind that goes with being a football team that's still playing this time of the year.
We understand that.
And when we have those type of numbers, you're able to actually split the football team into 2 groups, which we call the varsity and the junior varsity, and they're able to get more individual practice that way. Our numbers being around 50 makes that pretty hard to do on a regular basis, but we're graduating, I think, 14 seniors. There are 30 young men that were 8th graders on the middle school football team. If we're able to bring 25 of those in, I think that will be a huge accomplishment, that if 25 of them are still left. Obviously, there are people with the business and industry that we have coming and things that are looking positive here in the city of Dublin. There will be some people probably moving in and relocating in Lawrence County, and hopefully there will be 2 or 3 good football players in that group if that's the case. And if it is, who knows? We can put together a solid season.
Sounds like we've got a lot to look forward to, and we're going to sign off. We thank you this year, all the fans, all the viewers who supported Dublin High School football. And we'll be back next year.